Need a presenter? Your Event Audio has you covered. Closed circuit audio equipment with turnkey operation at your trade show booth, live event, or private event. YourEventAudio.com is the place to go. DJ services, MC talent, and a whole lot more. Check out YourEventAudio.com today.
Craving ideas to ignite your face-to-face marketing program? Join us at EXHIBITOR Live, the conference and exhibition for trade show and corporate event marketers in Nashville, February the 25th through the 28th. Dive into over 100 electrifying sessions and workshops led by industry rock stars, where you'll learn to skyrocket your ROI, master the art of creating experiences, and forge connections that will take your program and your career to the next level. Secure your spot now and turn your trade show dreams into reality at EXHIBITORLive.com.
Welcome to the fourth show of 2024 in the EXHIBITOR Now world. We're just speeding along as we go, as we're wrapping up a crazy month of shows all over the United States. And we've been talking a lot about them here on the show, and we're going to continue that discussion this week. I'm Mike Morrison, National Sales Director for WS Display. As you see there on the screen, Mark Johnson joins us from Las Vegas, where how are things settling in for you there now in Vegas? Have you made this transition of time zone and weather and all those great things that come with the Sin City world?
Yeah, we're working pretty hard on it, but yeah, no, it's a bit of an adjustment. The time zones we've gotten into, and my day starts, 3, 4 in the morning because of the East Coast and some of the stuff we work at Europe, and minimum you're on a call at, I guess it's 5, which is 7 in Central Time with my main team and that stuff. So, but yeah, we're getting accustomed to it. Vegas has had a tough time weather-wise. We've had a lot more gray weather so far this year than we've expected. And today it is sunny. It's beautiful blue skies today, so hopefully that's turned through. But weather you'll talk about in your trip with it too has been just kind of crazy about the whole country. But right now, this is a crazy time in Vegas. CES is over, fancy food, SHOT Show. We're getting ready for World of Concrete. There's just a lot of activity throughout town. They're still tearing down the main bridge that they did, a temporary bridge for the Formula One. So that's got some road construction going on crazy. And then everybody's getting fired up for the Super Bowl. So there's a lot of activity going on here for that. And again, I think I shared with you before, but the LIV tour is coming to Vegas, and they've decided to, at the last minute, to do an event Thursday, Friday, Saturday of Super Bowl weekend. So that's kind of got things going. And that's at our golf course here at the Las Vegas Country Club. So they've been closing down practice facilities, and as a member, it hasn't been a great deal for us, and a lot of the members here are disappointed. We're trying to figure out what that's going to look like to have all those attendees that are more on the live versus the PGA mentality, walking through our country club and walking through our community. So it'll be interesting to see with that. But we're trying to get used to that. And from other personal stuff, yeah, we've got our operations up and running. Stars opened up, and my team is getting going there. So things are going good.
Yeah, the live world of golf is slightly different than the PGA world. Kind of reminds me of that 16th hole in Phoenix of the Waste Management tournament, where they absolutely lose their mind in that little Coliseum arena type place. But I'm sure hopefully they won't tear up your place like they do and in their other environments. Let's just hope for that. We'll hit our bullet points. Well, actually, before I do, you had mentioned weather thing. I was in Dallas, Texas early this week. Went in Sunday, came home Tuesday night, and it was horrible. There's just no other. And if you're in the Dallas, Fort Worth area, you know what I'm talking about. It was freezing rain the entire time from touchdown to takeoff. And it was absolutely horrible. Flew back to Atlanta. Same thing here. There's no sunny skies here. Sunny skies are in the forecasts for some time down the road. But right now we're in like Boston weather right now, upper in New York, that type of stuff that there, minus the snow, of course. So, and the East Coast is getting obliterated all sides of the weather, which kind of concern us a little bit with shows and live events, because it can play a monkey wrench being thrown into the machine there for that. I think so far we can tap on some wood that, Mark, so far we haven't seen any cancellations or impacts. I think we've been a little lucky on that considering what the weather's been like, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that as we've talked about it before, you do need to address weather in your planning if you're doing a proprietary event or anything like that that's in your control. We do the Zurich Golf Track Classic and also the Andy Palmer or Arnie Palmer event down in Florida every year. And obviously, weather's affecting these outcomes, and you've got to plan ahead. Do you go in early because of flight delays? You don't want to miss the event. And then how do you navigate when a storm does roll through? We saw it just, or you've seen in the news what's happening in Southern California. Yeah, there could be major distractions, if not total cancellations, but haven't seen that. It's just now part of our world, and you've got to plan ahead and think about all the aspects of it.
You really do. So now let's dive in those bullet points. The acquisitions rather continue as we learn that Pinnacle, a leading experiential marketing company, announced the acquisition of Creative Dimensions. That's one of the country's most innovative teams in culture shaping spaces such as broadcast sets, mobile studios, other branded environments for content creation and delivery. We've seen this as one of the many trends so far, Mark, in 2023 and 24. And we also saw a lot of this when we came out of the financial fallouts that occurred in 2008 through 2012 and even beyond that point. Is it more economy driven, or is this just a common during the comeback phases from being down and back on the uphill climb?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, if you really want to grow, to be honest, we are at Star. We're the example of it. We've acquired 4 companies in the last 2 years. We've got more that's on our horizon for this year. It is a good way to expand your growth and volume. But in our case, that's more strategic, is we're also looking at geographic and services. If you really want to move and grow, it's one of the easier ways to grow. It is not easy when I say that, though, because incorporating cultures and processes and people multiplies the complexity of it. So there's things that you have to watch as you go forward, but it is a way to move through it. I also think that our industry is loaded with aging founders. We've talked about the workforce many times, and you just have a lot of people in that founding area that's also at that age group that are looking for their exit plan and such. So I think you're going to continue to see it for the next few years. I don't think it's going to go away for some time short, and it works for a lot of reasons. So we'll see where it does play out.
Well, you aren't kidding about that aging workforce thing and the ownership thing. I'm not an owner, but I'm tired of waking up and feeling like and looking like old people. So we all are struggling with that. A second bullet point, this one's an interesting one that was in the news. Freeman has just released the latest trends report titled 2024 Attendee Intent and Behavior. It brought up 3 relative percentage aspects of respondents. 80% of respondents say that the most trusted channel of all available marketing channels is, of course, as we know, in-person events. And that trend is continuing to rise. 92% say that they will attend more in-person events this year. And then 87% indicate that their number one factor influencing attendance at events is discovering new products, solutions, and partners, EXHIBITOR Live, for example, and so forth. However, 4 key components for planners to adopt in meeting the new needs of attendees include personalization, objective-based measurement, content, and I should have typed this in very bold and large case letters, change. That last one I see as a potential obstacle. I know that Nicola Kastner talked about last week's show that phrase, "we've always done it this way," is the most dangerous phrase in live event world. And if everybody's expecting change versus "we've always done it this way," I see that as heads butting. What do you think?
Yeah, first of all, it's great to see Freeman's report out there and what they've got. We are presenting ours from EXHIBITOR Live, or at EXHIBITOR Live. We're doing the executive roundtable, and so we'll be sharing some of the same information or our data version of it to that group first, and then it'll be coming out in our magazine right afterwards. So our information is coming out close, and it's in line with a lot of the stuff that we've got here. We'll talk about some of it as it goes forward. But yeah, there is live is the way. The in-person events are the way that's going to continue to be the most trusted. And I think more we talked about with AI, it's going to create even more of an importance for it because it's going to be too easy to fake or multiply or imposter effects on some of the stuff with AI. And trust is really going to come when I can actually see and touch you. And that's the in-person events. So I think it'll go. And change is. The world has changed. And if you're not adapting to it, this is the way we've always done it, is the most dangerous going forward, really in any of our roles, our jobs, but also in the live events. You have to take a look at your new marketplace, your new attendees, and even the old attendees have shifted on how they're showing up and what they're looking for events going forward. So I do think that all of us in the show organizing world, or even those that are helping customers go to shows, what their end customers are looking for is different, and you've got to accommodate it. And we saw that at CES with some of the activations. The good old tried and true just didn't draw as much attention when you looked at the booth and some of the stuff. And Emily and Ben will share some of that stuff too coming up on the best of CES and what they saw for activations. But the ones that did change and show some stuff, the last day of the show, even at 4 o'clock, there was a line to experience some of their activations. So it's a new world, and I think we all have to take a good hard look at how we're doing it and make sure that we're addressing the future and present needs.
That line analogy you're talking about at 4 o'clock closing time reminds me of the old restaurant adage: if the parking lot's full, that's where you want to go. If it's empty, you want to stay as far away from it as possible. And I've made that mistake before, so take it from your Uncle Mike. If the parking lot's empty, don't go. Sustainable aspects of live events and destinations is our final bullet point, is an article we saw with the subtitle Sustainable Destinations Come into Focus. Many hotels and event venues have prioritized the implementation of sustainable features, and consumers have seemingly taken note of this. Google searches show an uptick in the term of sustainable hotels, quote unquote, over the past 5 years. A new report from Euromonitor International says nearly 80% of travelers are willing to pay up to 10% more for sustainable features. Now, I've always said, Mark, that it costs green to go green. It is going to be more of an impact on the wallet. And I've said that all along. But do you think that the overall makeup of the industry can make that shift in their minds to make such moves when budgets are being cut so much and are so restricted?
I think actually it's going to help the budgets because corporate America, especially the public traded companies, we've talked about it. They have to follow these mandates going forward. There's some requirements in just a few short years that these corporations are going to have to follow. And their budgets might have been cut before, but now they've got a sustainability budget that could be added to the marketing events or the things that go forward with it. But I like you're getting really on trend here. Green to go green. This is pretty good. I like that idea. We've seen that before in the industry where people wanted to be more, and I don't even know if sustainability was the right word back then, but it was go green. And when they found out it cost a little bit more, they quickly backed away. As I've said before, there's just no option for that this time. Those corporate American mandates, the corporate world has to do it, and it's going to trickle down. And I think the hotel question just shows some of these corporations starting to be aware of their carbon footprint and doing what they can and saying, I'm staying in a sustainable hotel, or there's one that's doing, it costs more. I get it. And they're supporting that down the path. I think every company needs to address it. We are looking at it at EXHIBITOR. We've got a lot of topics and presenters talking about sustainability at our event. We've got a certification program that we're going down that path with and helping the end customers, our end event marketers. How do they get better handle of sustainability? How can they support it in our industry? It's live and it's not going backwards this time.
It's an interesting subject matter to talk about because our guest today, her passion for sustainability and what's going on in her convention center in Southern California is off the chain. That's all I could think of how to describe Mindy Abel, who is the deputy director of the Anaheim Convention Center. The convention center, by the way, that won the best overall convention center in Exhibitor Group's most recent contest for that, and rated the best convention center overall with 1 million square feet or larger. So they were the top of the top, best of the best. So Mindy and I talked on the previous podcast I did back in April of 21. So they were coming out of the pandemic and trying to make strides. And that discussion was interesting. This one was even more exciting because I could see in her gestures, and what you're about to see in the interview was very impressive of how Anaheim is coming into 2024 with all stops pulled and they're pedal to the floor. So it's a real interesting discussion with Mindy Abel, once again, the deputy director of the Anaheim Convention Center, here on the Exhibitor Now podcast. It comes up next after this.
Attention, trade show and event marketing professionals. Are you ready to take your face-to-face marketing expertise to the next level? Join more than 3,000 candidates currently enrolled in Exhibitor Group's Certified Trade Show Marketer Program. CTSM is corporate America's top source of the industry's best trade show and corporate event training. CTSM certified trade show marketers enjoy expanded career opportunities, greater respect and authority in their organizations, and earn higher salaries than their acronym-free peers. Learn more, earn more. Visit ctsm.com today. Welcome back to the Exhibitor Now podcast. Really looking forward to this talk about California. A lot of great things going on there besides weather. I say that because we have such crappy weather here on the East Coast right now with snowstorms in the Northeast. I'm in Atlanta, where last time I checked, we're in the South, and it's supposed to be warm even in the winter. It's down to negative numbers, and that's not right. But where you can find some beautiful weather this time of year is in Anaheim, California. And that being said, we have our guest right now. I've been, like I said, excited to talk to. It's the last time that Mindy Abel and I had a chance to talk was on the Don and Mike show back in April of 21. So it's been a few years. It's been a minute. And as you see there, she joins us now here on the Exhibitor Now podcast. You look great. Everything's looking the same as last time. Still in that same office there.
Yeah, same piles of good work happening around us. Yes.
That's a good problem to have, piles of work, because back in that time we last talked, it was the comeback. We were in the middle of trying to get back to some sense of normal. And now, as we chatted the other day, busy is a good thing as compared to, which is a congratulatory note that things are back to normal, seemingly in Anaheim in the convention center world.
Definitely. Since we last spoke, we didn't know what the future held. We were all very optimistic. We felt like we had protocols in place. Groups were coming back with lots of safeguards and bumpers around it. Safety and, attendee confidence is still, job one, but the bumpers around it have changed a little bit. It's commonplace to see people walking around with masks in our daily lives. I think that's here to stay. But the measures that we put in place just solidified it. Many of the things that we were working towards prior to the pandemic. I think since we last spoke, we don't even talk about it's so much in our rearview mirror that it is how do we grow our business? How do we change the attendee experience? All the things we were talking about in early 2020 prior to February and, the years earlier. So the cadence and the interaction, is really on par. I just got back from PCMA a week ago, and it was a great reunion. Many people we hadn't seen in 4 to 5 years, and everybody's still out there, and the confidence is strong.
That's a great point. I want to dive into those aspects here in just a minute, but before I bypass this, one of the things that I congratulated you on was the most recent Exhibitor Magazine Award for Best Centers or Centers of Excellence Award is what it's called. And Anaheim Convention Center was the winner of that award for the over 1 million square foot category of exhibit space. So congratulations there. That's a big award. I mean, that's the biggest segment of space, and you came out on top with that. So congratulations for that.
Thank you. Thanks. I think part of the reason, a big part of the reason why this was our 5th year receiving the Centers of Excellence Award. The year before, we won for Best Customer Service and On-Site Support. But this year, winning the best of the best, over 1 million square feet. I really attribute a big portion of that to our sustainability profile. We have, over the years, since 2010, really put into place a number of sustainability initiatives that help differentiate our location and our building and in everything that we do each day. I can tell you with everything that we've done, and I'll go into some of the specifics, there's so much more that we can do, and I know we are challenged to always be better at it. Some of the things that we did, in 2010, we received, as an existing building, we've gone through 7 expansions over the decades. We were able to get the Gold LEED certification for existing buildings, and since have added in 2017 ACC North that put us over 1 million square feet, also built to LEED Gold standards. With that, I think in our industry, we all understand what it takes to get there, but sustainability, how we consume from purchases to disposal, that's the bar that we have to make every time. We did some beyond that to get to the gold standard. We have done a number of things in catering, but we also created a green zone. And in a little bit, I will flip my background and show you a picture of the green zone, because it sounds like, okay, what's the green zone? It's an area where we compost. We have 2 dehydrators where we take wet waste from the kitchen, which are fruits, vegetables, coffee grounds. We dehydrate it. It comes out into like a mulch-like kind of byproduct that we mix in with soil because it's so nutrient rich that in turn goes back into, we give it to our landscapers in the Anaheim Resort to either put out into the resort or take beyond that. We also, because of the dehydrators, we have a statistic that we diverted we processed 39,500 pounds of wet and organic waste just last year, which, I know you woke up this morning thinking, I wonder how much organic and wet waste I produced last year. But in a building of our size, just to take that much and reduce it and keep it out of landfills, it was, quite an important thing. We also have cardboard packers. We have balers. So we take PET, bottled water, soda, etc. We bale that, and we also bale cardboard on site as well. So let me show you a picture. I know I can change this. So hopefully I don't. Here's a picture of our, and it's backwards, but you can see the scale of what we have. So we have this dumpster that goes out with our, clean waste that goes around the Anaheim Resort to Anaheim Recycling. And, you can see that we have a green zone. We have the balers, we have the composters in this zone. So this is just one area that we really concentrate our efforts. We also have different, throughout all of the back of house, the different waste bins. So we have the 3-bin system in the front of house, and then the back of house, we also have the 3-bin system for compost, for landfill, for trash sorting as well. So aggressively, we have this program. We also, I know I'm just talking away about our sustainability. It's a rather large program. We have 300,000 square feet of solar panels on our exhibit halls A through D. And that goes back into the grid. Anaheim has its municipality, runs its own utilities. And so we take that, it goes back into the electricity grids for green power into the Anaheim community. We do pull from that as well. So having the green roof is a huge part of our profile. Catering wise, we also buy from Hearst Ranch, and we have a whole cattle herd program where we purchase the cows. And so we have an array of the level of food that we get, the meat, the beef, and all the byproducts of it. The whole cow is part of our food process. And that sounds kind of interesting, but we meet with the cowboys. They come down here, they talk about what they're doing with their grass-fed, grass-finished, sustainable treatment and humane treatment of animals. But wait, there's more in our catering. We have an organic rooftop garden over our box office by the arena, where we have an herb garden, a butterfly garden, and a hummingbird garden, where we pull, we pull products that go into the kitchens, that go into the food that we serve. We also work with a local roaster, Bodie Leaf Coffee, that has a large profile, that they're in all of our catering, but it's, again, another humane farm, but they roast here in Anaheim. So it's a great local story.
The passion that you are sharing with it, I mean, that's not a joke. Yeah, I mean, it is very intense, and I can appreciate that. Last week's show, we mentioned, though, just in case some of the listeners missed it, maybe you missed it as well, I came up with a report that, and Mark and I talked about this in our industry, we seem to be very intense and intent on being strong in sustainability. That's our goal. It's one of the probably top 3 in every list of what we talk about as an industry that we want to be best of. Mm-hmm. However, what's interesting is that the consumer level, it's failing. And it's just across the board. And I find it as an interesting anomaly that we're out there just really preaching sustainability, but the consumer side gets stuck on that. And as I listen to you talk about your green zone, I can see probably you have some very educated people and experienced people out there knowing where to throw what where, because that would be the challenge for me if I had to go out there with waste. Which bin do I throw it in, right? It'd be crazy. So I can imagine consumers are having that struggle as well. And there's also been that pay to play type of mentality. It costs more to be green. I used to say it costs green to be green. And that's a concern in the industry. How does California, Anaheim specifically, do it so well? Because you sound like you're right at the top of the game. It's that you've gotten instilled in the DNA of the makeup at Anaheim Convention Center to this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do it well.
Well, you can't do it alone. Part of it is by virtue of being in California. California has high benchmarks when it comes to diversion. And as we've got the oceans, we've got every eco climate system in California, from the deserts to the valleys, Death Valley to the mountains, we've got it all right here in the state. So we're very conscious about our water retainment. We're also an arid desert. So, there was more that we've done for sustainability when we added ACC North. We also added a water containment tank that goes into the groundwater. And, that's not something that Anaheim said, I want to add another $1 million to this project. Let's build a water containment tank and put it into our groundwater. I mean, it's kind of like any new builds in California, you need to think about those things. So the runoff, a country like Bermuda has been doing this to survive. So now, we take the runoff from the roof, it goes into a containment tank with filtration, and then it goes back into our groundwater. And that's how in Southern California specifically, we can avoid drought to a great degree, because we really pull from the groundwater. There's so many systems in place. So through these expansions and other things, we've learned a lot about, being a better partner to the world. But in California, there are those, benchmarks that everybody needs to contribute to. And I think to your point, you said as consumers, we get, kind of, is this all greenwashing, or it has to go beyond that. And as as an industry that pulls together thought leaders or innovators in all areas. We have to be the leaders to show the direction of the future. And one group that we partner with for over 40 years is the Natural Products Expo West. Informa Markets has an event that has been in Anaheim. We have grown from the ballroom at the Disneyland Hotel to a full campus, experience with over 85,000 attendees every year. So they walk the walk and talk the talk. They want to make sure that their brand is on point, and together as partners, we have grown on that sustainability footprint together. So we kind of have, that has helped us to push us along a little bit further, a little bit faster. The one thing we could do better is our reportability. And this is something in this coming year that our team is working on. I mean, we can report certain statistics, but what are the results of the things that we're doing? And so we want to take a little bit deeper dive to do that, and hopefully standardize and make it easier for our industry to be the leaders in sustainability.
I think that'd be interesting, even from the consumer level, if you could see the ROI of what you're doing as a nation, as a world. I think we could probably get on board, that's just my opinion, with taking those extra steps. And it could be the little things of plastics and cardboard and things like that that are landfill heavy. But it's obvious that besides having deputy director and certified meeting planner behind your name, you must have environmentalist right there on the tagline as well. So that's very impressive, all the knowledge that you know of that. And you'd have to know that in order to keep that organization and that facility going in the direction it's going. Let's go down the road, though. You kind of touched a little bit on the introduction, but COVID-19 protocol, especially in California, was big. It was across the nation. It was here in Georgia. It was here in Orlando, several places. But a lot of steps were taken to become certified and to reach these levels of safe havens to go and to have these large events. But what's funny is I hear the reports from CES that nobody had a problem with sharing air, bumping into each other. It was shoulder to shoulder, and it was almost 2019 all over again. So as you go back into shows into 2024, do you see a little bit of that on the floor and with people's mentalities? Or in Anaheim, is it still more of a feel of, hey, we want to be safe, we want you to do what you need to do, but we are going to offer that, as you call it, safe haven and the bumpers around where people meet? What's the take there on that?
Well, we provide a lot of information to our groups. So I think our groups going into it, they assure the attendee that they're walking into a safe, walkable, indoor, outdoor environment. We just had United Soccer coaches here last week, and they were all on our Grand Plaza. We had 18 food trucks during the lunch hour. We had a DJ. They were sitting around the fountain outside in the sun, and they're like, wow, this is going to be hard to beat next year, and because we have the indoor outdoor feel, I think people have a good sense of, not being in a confined space. We provide upfront information, again, back to our LEED certification, that 100% outside air is in the building. We don't recirculate the air. So it's the airflow, the filtration system, which we have in place, became really important. That information became really important to share with people coming out of the pandemic. Of course, everybody added more hand sanitizers, the water fill stations. So some of the things that we were able to stop doing we used to have the big water tubs that people, to get their water. And it was like, ew, like how, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. But the fresh water fill station, not only are you, you're not using, you could reuse a bottled water, but again, just the touches that now have become the norm, from food service to, just the amenities that we provide. We, always have our team in the lobbies cleaning and everything. So it's not just, clean washing. We have always been out there, wiping down door handles, because, that's how people get sick normally. So just having that visual impact of that safe environment and clean environment that we care about cleanliness, I think helps to make everybody feel at ease as they move about.
Yeah, the safety coincides a little bit with sustainability. The two sort of go together. And I could see that that being there. We're talking with Mindy Abel from the Anaheim Convention Center. She's the deputy director there, and we're going to end with this. You mentioned it, especially with the soccer show, with people going outside because they're able to take advantage of the weather. You've got Disneyland right across the street, verbatim, and everything is around there is just so outside friendly. The challenges that a lot of shows have these days are in the experiential world. We've watched this movement happen. EXHIBITOR Live is coming up in Nashville, and it's chock full of different experiences that you can have on the show floor. And my question would be, are you seeing more of that in shows coming into 23, 24 as a trend? And also, is the convention center taking that into consideration in what they possibly might be able to provide more experientially for attendees at shows?
Well, that's a great question. Today, NAMM, the show NAMM, is here in January. So NAMM is all about experiences. I think, music, from education to guitar picks to sheet music. I mean, even in this day and age when you can have your iPad, and be playing whatever song and that becomes your sheet music, some people still like to see sheet music. Or you write music, you still write it. There's still that pen and paper piece to it. Right. People need to pick up a guitar or touch a keyboard or look at a synthesizer. The drum section is a great one. The ukuleles, everybody's jamming on a ukulele. So experientially wise, let me tell you, it's about the high touch, high feel engagement. That's the genesis of a trade show. Like, we have trade shows so you can meet face to face, talk about the product, see the product, touch the product. I mean, we've been doing experiential buying and selling in the trade show world from day one. But now it's that emotional experience, like taking it that next step. So your memory is there, your connection with it is there. So I believe that it only gets stronger. So you're touching a guitar, but you can play the guitar. You don't just have to look at the guitar. You get to look at it and, look at what accessories, what makes that something that you would connect with, so it's being able to reach out and being able to communicate experiences that people can carry with them beyond the trade show floor. But that's what we missed during the pandemic. We were only communicating this way, but I think that's why the experience and the resurgence and the levels of attendance and the amount of events has really skyrocketed, because that connection, that experience, no matter what industry, it is really key to the success of business moving forward.
I said I'd wrap up with that. I'll wrap up with this thought or question. Yeah. If you had to label the number one thing that the Anaheim Convention Center is looking forward to providing its exhibitors and attendees in for 2024, and you've covered a lot already, but maybe there's a silver bullet in there that we may have missed, what would that be? What do you lead off with as this is the main reason why Anaheim Convention Center should be at the top of your list for your show in 2024?
We're an easy place to do business. Like, an event comes here, you take over the campus, and it's just got this immersive engagement and feeling as you walk from hotel to convention center. The plazas connect it all. Many cities have those amenities. But we have it right here for the event, where you take it over and you really connect with everybody, and the networking and the ability to create whatever message or whatever goal of your event is. I think there's a lot of success. You go, just outside of the campus, you have all of the things that Disney offers. And, we often hear at the convention center, people are walking around on our plazas and they're like, where's Disney? And I'm like, it's right there. See that building? that's actually Disney. So you don't feel like you're in the middle of a theme park, but yet the amenities of a theme park and the joy and the experiences are right there as well. So I guess, I don't know if I've answered that question. I think we're still discovering. We're trying to be that palette for the event to come in and help shape what it looks like. You come here, what's your goals? How do we get there together? You put a Ferris wheel on the Grand Plaza, great. You want to be entertainment, you want to do that. We can do that. It's like we can mold and bend as much or as little and work, alongside with the goals of the events that come here.
Well, I would say in finalization, what you ought to do is just bring your attendees back there and tour the green zone and maybe make it an amusement point.
Yeah, we do. A lot of groups are like, I need, especially corporate groups are, I think, doing a really, really, really good job as a part of their brand standard. And, it's a lot of work. The stuff that goes back there, it still needs that human touch, because to your point, it's the mix of stuff, but we have to continue to make those strides, and we just get better.
It's the #1 convention center, according to the Exhibitor Group, for 2024. And I've enjoyed talking with Mindy Abel today and bringing us up to date on what's happening in California. My company's in California. I always love to go visit there. The weather is beautiful, and I've done a few shows there at the convention center. It's over the top. So congratulations on your win, and look forward to seeing how great Anaheim Convention Center is in 2024.
Thanks, Mike.
Take a quick break and come back, and we'll wrap things up after this. Are you searching for trade show and event products and services? Find It on Exhibitor Exchange is your complete buyer's guide to trade show exhibiting and events, featuring the trade show industry's top exhibit and display providers. Find It on Exhibitor Exchange is the industry's best shopping and commerce resource for buyers and sellers of exhibit and event products and services. Reaching 20,000 exhibit and event buyers in every print issue of Exhibitor magazine, and 140,000 exhibit and event buyers online each year. Search the listings or list your company today. Learn more at exhibitoronline.com/findit.
Great interview, Mike. Mindy is just obviously you can see her passion through there, and we've been following that at Live for a couple of years. The team has been doing some evaluation, as you said earlier, with these exhibit centers and convention centers and how they show up in that. But obviously her green zone, she's very proud of that and has worked really hard to create that, and the recycling right there on site and everything they can do in that process. As we said earlier, it does drive it's being driven by some of the mandates, that the state's doing in that, but it also has got some of the funding. You've got to fund this stuff. There is a cost that goes into this aspect, but we need as we go forward with it. But I think the biggest thing that really brings the success to it, as we see with Mindy and any of them that go forward, you got to have a passion for this. If you really want to do this and be successful, all of those have to line up. And it's great to see her energy as she drives through it. But you saw some other things too that you want to make sure we highlight as we go forward.
Well, she had just come back from PCMA's convention that they had their get together in San Diego. So she had a lot of excitement coming back out of that with information. And she did highlight a lot about that topic itself, a lot of information to their convention goers, to their organizations who are coming in to do shows there and events. They had everything from soccer to sheet music shows. NAMM, of course, is right there at the top. And then the machine show is the big show that happens there as well. So they're across the platform of the different categories of shows that they have, and they're very excited about that coming back. But always the conversation about what to expect from health concerns, that's still, as you can, Southern California, it's still a concern. It's a concern across the United States and the world, really, but California is one of those states that they take that very seriously. So there's a lot of information in that interview. It was packed with good stuff, and congratulatory to them and to the Anaheim Convention Center for winning that award. It was just announced back in November. And then, of course, it applies to the 2024 year. So we look forward to having her back on the show maybe sometime soon in the future. Updates from Exhibitor Live. What's happening? Because now we're rolling into February and it's crunch time, right?
Yeah, it is. And the team is getting excited about all the stuff that's going forward. And we've got a lot of new things that are happening with it. Right now, we're already surpassed the 2023 attendance numbers. We're expected, as we're seeing registration is, more condensed. We're still expecting to see a huge spike here in the last few weeks. We're down to 30 days leading up to it, basically. So as we said earlier, we're on track to exceed 2018 numbers. So things are going well there. 47% of the current registrations are first timers to Exhibit Live. So those who are coming to attract customers, it's a whole new market. So it's a great opportunity to do that. Everybody knows Exhibitor Live, we have a 34-year track record of excellence and consistency, ranking as a leading show for buying influence. In 2023, 83% of the attendees reported a buying role for exhibits and related products. Well, 80% reported a buying role for corporate event products. We're seeing that continuing down the path and excited about where that's going. Right now, 41% of the attendees control trade show budgets of $500,000 or more, and 26% are budgets exceeding $1 million. So we're getting the right buying audience there. We're excited about where it's going. We've got some new things coming, and I think this show will, as we talked earlier with some of the trends, there'll be some changes and there'll be some new things that we are excited about. Even more so, we do have the next 3 years lined up, and we'll be announcing that at Live. And then also we've got a whole new plan for our fast tracks or continued education throughout the year too. So a lot of information will be shared coming up. Definitely is one of the industry events you should be to normally, but I would say this year is especially with everything that's changing. You want to come and see what's going on in Nashville. And again, if I get to come to your exhibit, I'm going to learn a little line dancing. So I'm going to have a lot of fun this year.
It's going to be an interesting 15 minutes at the top of the hour, I can tell you that, in the show hall. We are bringing in a couple of line dance instructors from right there in Nashville to teach you your favorite line dance. It's just something to break the chain of we've always done it this way. As we said earlier on the front end of the show, I think you got to have that instilled in the back of your head somewhere, that whatever you're going to do in your exhibit and your reach for 2024, you should probably just change it up a little bit and get with the times. Getting with the times, off mic, we chatted about this, and we feel like we should probably reiterate this because this is happening a couple of times this week. I know for me and other people as well, about show passes. There's been some change on that, and I'll let you, since you're the Exhibitor Live guy, and more than I am, can expound on what people need to expect when it comes to getting in onto the show floor.
Yeah, it's an issue that we've seen and we've talked about for a little bit, but David is very committed to this, and that's something the IAEE and some of the other associations saw a long time ago, the suitcasing process. And I admitted earlier on shows that I've been guilty of it, but it is. So if you exhibit at the show, you're getting a number of passes. It's no longer unlimited. We've had some companies that have given away hundreds of free passes to walk the show floor and basically suitcase. Those old passes you've had, those old codes, no longer work. We have disconnected those. So we've got a few phone calls this week, you and I, on, hey, I'm trying to get an old pass and it's not working. What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. There is still a way to come. You can attend through attending the classes. There's still sponsorship dollars if you want to come in and sponsor the event and get some passes. Obviously, the exhibitors have a number of passes, and if you're a customer of theirs, they'll have a limited number to give away versus unlimited in the past. David and Lauren and the team would be glad to help you get arrangements on what's the best way for you and your team to come to the show. We want attendees, but we have to do something that is a fiduciary and financial responsibility of the organization. We're protecting those who have paid money to exhibit there. They're making the investment and supporting the organization. It's not fair for the others to just walk the hall free, and even from the end customers that understand it and are looking more for that. So, yep, there's a change. If you're expecting to just get a pass and walk the floor, it's not going to be the case this year, but reach out to David Dubois or anybody on the Exhibitor Live team.
So there you have it. Things change. And things change sometimes for the better, sometimes and this is a perfect example of we're not doing it the way we've always done it. So I anticipate this will be a great show. I'm looking forward to seeing growth in the attendance, and more than that, Mark, I think the enthusiasm of bringing it back. EDPA is bringing a number of people to engage this year. They set records last year, so I have no doubt that they'll do the same thing this year. And hopefully that spillover will come into the show hall and to the events. What you want to do is sign up now, because and go ahead and make your travel arrangements, your flights and everything. We're going to continue talking about Exhibitor. As a matter of fact, there's been some additional Mark doesn't know this. I'd like to arrange some interviews with some of the new people who have come on, both in conjunction with Exhibitor Live and Exhibitor Group. There have been some announcements recently and of these people who've been added on. So we'd like to maybe have some discussions with them here on Exhibitor Now. And as we lead into the show, which is right around the corner, and you can keep up with all of it right here on the Exhibitor Now podcast.
The Exhibitor Now podcast. Give us 30 minutes, and we'll give you everything you need to know now.